Welcome to The Burning of the Midnight Lamp, where we are discussing music history, album by album, and track by track. We are continuing with David Bowie's Heathen album from 2002 and have now come to the 8th track on this album. I Took a Trip on a Gemini Spaceship. That's the 3rd cover song on this album. Written by Norman Carl Odom, also known as the Legendary Stardust Cowboy. Or only the Ledge, as it's also been called. We're just going to start by listening to this cover version.
I took a trip on the Gemini spacecraft. I thought about you. I passed through the shadow of Jupiter, and I thought about you. I shot my space gun. Boy, really felt blue. 3 flying saucers parked under the stars, winding screen, moon shining down in some little town. With each beam, the same old dream. I took a trip in a Gemini spacecraft, and I thought about I shot my space gun, and I thought about you. Pulled down my sun visor. Boy, I really felt blue. Jumped into your Gemini, jumped into mine. We'll orbit the moon for just one time. Tomorrow night, will you hold hands with me under the moonlight? Took a trip on a Gemini spacecraft, and I thought about you. I shot my space gun, and I thought about you. And I took a walk in space. Boy, I really felt blue. Crack, look way back, stardust trail leading back to you. What did I do? What could I do? Yes, what did I do? Well, I thought about you. I thought about you. Took a trip in a Gemini spacecraft. It's all about you.
Yes. So that was the Gemini Spaceship, or spacecraft, as they sing in the song.
And that's quite interesting. the difference between the title and the lyric.
Yeah,
Actually, I wonder why. But maybe not as strange as everything else around this. It's ledge.
It's an odd song, and I think of all the songs on Heathen, it's probably the song that has grown on me the most. Because it originally was a song I didn't like at all. But I enjoy it more and more every time I listen to it, I think.
I'm shocked. This can grow on you? I've tried.
I think it has some great... I'm not too fond of the beginning... I took a trip on a Gemini spacecraft and I thought about you part.
Which is basically half the song.
Well, in between there, you have these 2 or 3 flying sources parked under the stars, the winding stream part. Beautiful. You have that part with the theremin in there.
I like the theremin and I like the organ and I like Bowie's well. I cannot even do that.
Yeah, the saxophone.
That's good.
Saxophone, it reminds me of some Berlin period type songs.
Yes, it brings the track into Bowie canon. It sounds like a Bowie track when he puts on this. He's used it a lot, various points in his career. But I agree. The opening is quite cheesy, but of course the subject matter of the song is quite cheesy. It's a sort of it's a song you cannot argue with because it takes itself so. It's not a serious song, it's done with a wink, and every criticism you may throw at this is just, it's just this kind of fun.
Yeah, but my criticism is exactly that, because it's a fun song and they made it into something that takes itself too seriously. For me.
Yeah.
So.
Is it because of it comes after, I would be a slave and, on the...
And you talked about, I would be a slave being a bit hectic, but this certainly song is hectic.
Yeah, it is, of course.
It's a bit all over the place.
But you are on a spacecraft, of course. It has to be, light speed. You cannot just make a slow drooling.
Yeah. Good argument.
No, but I think Bowie has a great love for this song, and he wanted to do something which in his
justice.
Mind, which in his mind might be justice, and do a proper arrangement of it. Because the original doesn't have much of an arrangement in a way. I mean, it does, but it's very, very simple in comparison. And of course, Bowie takes it very, 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 very far from the original.
If Bowie would have done a version close to the original, that would have been, it would have stuck out quite.
Let's take a quick listen to the original. I don't think we play the whole thing, but let's just a little bit from the first part here.
It's definitely a trip.
I took a trip in a Gemini spacecraft, and I thought about you. I passed through the shadow of Jupiter, and I thought about you. I shot my space gun, I really felt blue. 2 or 3 flying saucers parked under the stars, a winding stream.
It sounds a little bit like 3 different people doing 2 different things.
It sounds a bit like aliens have landed on Earth and are trying to imitate our music.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He had to go far from the original because you simply cannot copy the ledge. He's in a league of his own, in a spacecraft of his own. But he and Bowie goes way back, or at least Bowie goes way back with admiration.
Bowie was visiting the US for his first time in January 1971. And he had expressed a wish that he wanted to look for and acquire new music, and particularly weird records. And a representative of Bowie's record company, Mercury Records, brought with him 3 of the Legendary Stardust Cowboys singles, including this one. Literally at the airport, I think.
Welcome to America. This is what we listen to.
No, they were on the same record company. And Bowie said to Mojo in an interview, "I fell all about the floor I took a trip on the Gemini Spaceship. It was the laugh of love. I could not believe that such a talent was unrecognized. I became a lifelong fan, and Ziggy got a surname." So that's where Ziggy Stardust got its name from.
This is the payback. No. Now he wants to give him some royalties and...
Yeah, but we jumping ahead to the early 2000s, Bowie was sitting at home, surfing around on the internet, and he came across the Stardust's website, which had only 2 pages. One was his birth certificate, and the other was a handwritten letter that he had written where he complained about being so poor he couldn't even afford a computer to view his own webpage. He, amongst other things, wrote, "I've reached a point where I need help in going further. It sure would be nice if David Bowie would pay me something for using part of my name in Ziggy Stardust." And he paid it Ziggy with I-E at the end. Bowie then got, he felt a bit guilty and wanted to make amends immediately and covered what Bowie considers one of his best songs. So that's how it came about for Heathen.
It's a beautiful story, I have to admit.
Mm. But he also invited the Ledge to sing on the Meltdown Festival, where he, can't remember the year, but he was the curator, and he invited also Daniel Johnston.
2002.
Yes, being another famous underground / cult / outside artist like the Ledge, and they played on the same night, on the same stage.
Mm. I don't think Bowie actually saw it, or at least he didn't meet Norman, as he's called. That first happened later in the year, and Bowie then finally got to meet them and express his admiration and thanks, I guess, overdue recognition.
So Bowie had these 2 artists on the Meltdown Festival, both outsider artists, and he covered one of them on this album, but he also made a track called Wood Jackson that was left off the album and put on one of the singles as a B-side that is similar in the style of maybe it could have been Daniel Johnson-ish track. So I think his recognition of some inspirational figures from the outside and pulling them in to the limelight. I think that's a theme on the album, as we discussed at length with Uncle Floyd being similar type of outside artist in a way, or at least someone who only had underground recognition, and then he brings them out. So this it could have been sort of a trilogy with Uncle Floyd and the Ledge and Daniel Johnston as some 3 similar characters being honored on this album.
So let's go a little bit back to the track itself. You mentioned, Ton, you liked the way Bowie sang well in there at the end. That's actually notable for, you maybe can argue if it is a note or not, but as a note, it's actually the lowest note Bowie ever sang on the album. It's a G1, which is very, very deep.
Deep it is.
Mm-hmm.
On the album or overall?
Overall, that he ever sang on an album.
So you're saying this is an all-time low?
Actually, it is.
It is.
Hitting an all-time low. That's exactly what he did in this album. It's been mentioned by others that it includes speed funk, wah-wah guitars, and a theremin, reminiscent of space-themed TV shows, which it does.
Yeah. Would you like to tell us how the theremin got invented? What it was actually for?
Scaring aliens.
No, it was invented by a Russian very early. Maybe it's the first electronic instrument, or one of the few earliest.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't know what it was made for. If it wasn't for music.
I've heard it was an alarm system that was put up to alert if anyone was coming closer.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then the frequency would change. So
Yeah. Someone discovered that you can actually play music with it.
And it does have a very ethereal kind of sound, which it doesn't sound like something from Earth.
Bowie actually said that this was a favorite track for both himself and others, including his young daughter, which at this time would have been 2 years old, I think. There's actually a remix that was made of it, an extended remix called Deepsky's or Deepsky's Space Cowboy remix, which was almost 8 minutes long and was released as a B-side on a 12-inch promo version of the Everyone Says Hi single in 2003.
Now I am afraid.
I don't think I've ever heard of that version. Have you heard it, Frode?
I have heard it. We can maybe listen to a short clip of it. I don't think we'll play all the 8 minutes.
All 8 minutes.
Sounds like an extended dance mix.
It does.
With more blips and sci-fi noises for those who think the original had too few. Well, it's turning up the wah-wah funk.
Took a trip on a Gemini spacecraft. And I thought about you. I passed through the shadow of Jupiter. And I thought about you.
Yeah.
You stopping already?
Yeah. Why? Now it's starting to grow on me.
I think it's an interesting song.
He did play it live a couple of times, 4 times in all on only on the Heathen tour. First time was 2nd of June 2002 when he recorded it for Top of the Pops. Not sure if it was broadcasted or not, because they recorded 8 songs for that show. And he also played the full album from beginning to end. So I guess those are the occasions when he did play it. The last time was 5th of July 2002 in Horsens in Denmark. Yeah, besides that, I don't think we have anything more to add to it. As I said, it's a song that for me has gone from one of the low points on the album to something that is quite enjoyable for me. Still, I wouldn't consider it... it's on the lower end of the album for me. But I find it enjoyable, at least.
I'm happy the Ledge gets some royalties.
Yeah, well, I like it as well, though it's not one of my favorites on the album. It's also grown on me, but I'm happy that he did this and got the Ledge some acknowledgement in the Bowie canon. And of course, then we have one more Bowie space / star / sci-fi track to add to the pile of the others. So it's not for the last time he'll be discussing stars on this album.
Yeah, that too. So what do you think? Do you agree with me or do you agree with Tron? Which side are you on? Leave a comment below if you have an opinion on this track. Thank you to everyone for watching us discussing this song. We'll be back in a couple of days with another track from Heathen. Until then, you can listen to our podcast where we are discussing this whole album from recording to release and tour, and other artists as well. And we have a Patreon where you can get early access to every song on this album, and also we have filmed a full podcast. Until then, you must all have a nice day, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Cheerio.